The V-twin vibrates my hiney. Is it a Harley? No, it's not. But is it? But it's not, right? So what is going on, everybody? Big Jake back at you again with another bike review. Once again, thanks to DCC Motorsports, we are back on a bike that, well, I just wouldn't have access to without them. Today, we are on a 2007 Buell Lightning XB9S, which is a 900 and I think 85 cc or 945 cc, 900 and something cc V-twin naked sport bike sort of thing. It's a really rare bike. Buell is well, let's tell you the story of Buell, because I think if you're anything like me, there's a lot of confusion as to what Buell even is. Who are they? Is it a Harley? Is it not a Harley? Is it sort of a Harley? Is it Harley's sport bike division? Is it what even is a Buell? Well, let me clarify something. In 1983, an ex-Harley Davidson engineer named, guess, Eric Buell left Harley Davidson and founded the Buell Motorcycle Company. In 1993, Harley Davidson stepped in and bought 49% of the companies. So Eric, the original owner, the founder of Buell, still owned the majority of the company. 10 years after that, in 2003, Harley Davidson came along and bought out the rest of it. So in 2003, Harley Davidson bought the rest of Buell. They owned it all. Then, unfortunately, kind of the same way that Polaris killed off Victory to focus on Indian, in 2009, Harley Davidson killed off Buell in order to focus on Harley Davidson. Now, a month after they killed off Buell, Eric Buell, the founder of Buell Motorcycles, founded Eric Buell Racing. Now, that's kind of where the confusion comes in, because people think Buell is a Harley, but not a Harley, or maybe like me, you thought it was Harley's like sport bike division, like, or the cool division, like where they made like good stuff and not boring old cruisers. No offense. But that's not really, that sort of is, but that's not really the case. Basically what happened is when Eric Buell split, he started making, you know, bikes like this, kind of the sport bike and naked sport bike type stuff, and then eventually Harley Davidson stepped in and bought the company, but they ultimately ended up killing off Buell due to a lower sales volume than they would have liked. However, before they killed off Buell, they made some cool stuff like this 2007 XBS, Lightning XBS, I think is the right way to say it. And like I was saying, this is a 945 cc V-twin. I'm getting the number wrong. I'm 100% getting the number wrong, and the owner of the bike just told me how big it was. I'm definitely getting the number wrong, but that's okay. I know you'll forgive me. Okay, we're just gonna go around because I don't like sitting in traffic. It's torquey, and I like torque. Ooh, okay. So anyway, that's a really unique sound. And I'm not breaking the speed limit. Ha ha! So anyway, in 2009, Harley Davidson killed off Buell, which was unfortunate, and then a month later, Eric Buell, the original founder, tried to bring Eric Buell Racing, a new company, up to speed and basically make like the race version of this bike and a couple other bikes. In summer of 2017, Eric Buell Racing was officially shut down and liquidated. They just weren't selling bikes and they owed a bunch of money or some such a business thing like that. So, moral of the story is, Buell unfortunately is dead, but at least now you kind of understand what they were and where they came from. Now, as far as this bike goes, this actually borrows a lot of components from a Harley Sportster. The engine is like roughly the same size as an 883 or something like that. It's a big, powerful V-twin. It's a belt-driven motorcycle, which is different, and it redlines at just over 7,000 RPM, which is how you know it's an older design V-twin. It doesn't rev to 12,000 RPM like the Yamaha FC1 or the Super Duke. Actually, the Super Duke is a better comparison because that's a big, sporty V-twin, kind of like this one. But this one does sound the business. I hope you guys can hear some of this. As far as reliability goes, I truthfully couldn't tell you. I have no idea if Buells are considered reliable. According to the owner of this bike, it's been dead reliable with the exception of the speedometer. He hasn't really had any major issues. And this is an 07. This is going back 10 years. A couple cool things about the Buell XB is actually the frame itself. So you see right here, this silver part, that's the frame. That's actually the fuel tank. That's all part of the fuel tank. So there's a couple other, and you'll see in the pictures and the shots that this bike had a couple kind of wacky design features, which really made him unique, on top of the fact that it's a naked sport bike with a V-twin engine. Like, that's very odd. You don't see that very often. I just wanted to make sure I was speeding. I wasn't sure because the speedometer's not working. I just wanted to be sure. One thing that I found to be super characteristic of these big V-twins is they don't, well, obviously they don't rev that high. It's a big V-twin, but you don't really need them to. And I can totally see the appeal of a bike like this as opposed to a bike that takes a lot more revs. You got to stay in it a lot longer to get the power out of it, because this is not going to make as much as a comparable modern four-cylinder. That's kind of a given. But it delivers the power so early on, and actually the owner and I were talking about this. This is the perfect bike for commuting, city riding, and like tight road riding, because you don't need to be at 8,000 or 9,000 RPM to get the power out of it. That's $3 grand. The power starts there. Trust me. The power starts low, and that's really normal of a big V-twin. So unfortunately, while they don't make these bikes anymore, there's a couple designs sort of similar, like the naked sport bike with the big V-twin. There's a couple designs still available, and you can still find these. It's not like they're impossible to find. It's just that the big V-twin and the sport bike or the sportier bike, it's just not very common, but I totally get it. It's a dope bike. Woohoo! Yes! 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 Hello. Hello, officer. Sir. 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 I mean, I may have just pooed a little. Actually, I know for a fact I wasn't speeding. See, it says I'm going 5 miles an hour. I didn't do anything wrong. And I've got video documentation of it. You take me to jail. I know my rights. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't last 5 minutes in jail. I get upset when I go to Monopoly jail. They would definitely put me in jail with a guy named Bubba. I just know it. I've got that fresh meat look about me, for sure. No one is going to think that I'm a hardened criminal. As soon as I get in there, they're like, yeah, you're in trouble. So this bike is a super short wheelbase, and I'm not that smart with like physics and stuff to tell you how that affects handling, but I think it makes handling better, because the turn-in on this bike is incredible. It's so stable through the turns. It pulls really well. Like I said, it's not psychotic. It's not crazy on the big end. So past 4 or 5 grand, it doesn't like change. It doesn't go Jekyll and Hyde on you like a sport bike. Like sport bike, especially older sport bikes, like earlier, like before 2010, they have like a real Jekyll and Hyde quality to them, where they're fine, and then you hit 5,000 RPM, and all of a sudden they're a monster and they want to kill you and rip your face off and take your kids away. So this isn't anything like that, and that's what I really, again, I'm bragging on the big V twins. They're really linear, so all the way through, you kind of know what's coming. It's fast. It's definitely fast. Like, don't get me wrong. This is not a bike I would sell to a beginner, but it's very easy to ride. It's very predictable, and it just sounds the business. Ah, it sounds the business. This bike is so cool. Especially, I mean, dude, your frame is part of your fuel tank. I mean, come on. Oh, that sound. I don't want to like it because ultimately that's a Harley sound, but you know what? Doesn't say Harley on the badge, so it's not a Harley as far as I'm concerned. Plus, I'm sure that Buell had different mapping and whatnot to that awkward moment when you're on a new bike and you don't know where the foot brake is. Okay, you're being slow. I'm gonna go now. Woo! This bike is cool! So cool! So, final thoughts on the 2007 Buell XBS, Lightning XBS. I'll get that right one of these days. It's a really odd bike. You don't see many of them anymore, which is unfortunate because I think they're cool. Don't let the whole like Harley relationship confuse you. This bike is plenty fast. It's downright, it's fast enough to be dangerous in the wrong hands. I keep missing second. You're gonna see that like 4 times in this video where I miss second. It's definitely fast enough to be dangerous in the wrong hands, but it's very friendly. I think that because Buell is gone, you can pick these up for relatively cheap, and at least like engine parts should be pretty affordable, because like I said, I think it's based on the 883, which is a really common, like, goes back a long ways Harley motor. It's cool. It's definitely an oddball. You won't see many like it. You won't see many of these anymore. Thumbs up. Big fat thumbs up. This bike is cool. I dig it. I like the oddballs. I like the weird stuff, and getting to ride this was just freaking cool. So thank you once again to DCC Motorsports. Their eBay store and their homepage to their actual website is linked in the description below. Check them out for all your motorcycle part needs. The owner of that store is actually the owner of this bike. So thank you again for letting me ride it. I do appreciate it. This is his personal bike. This is his baby. And you know how much I appreciate people letting me ride their motorcycles. Once again, I am Big Fast Jake. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below, and we'll see ya on Sunday. Bye, y'all. Bye-bye. Okay, watch a different video now. Go away. Bye now.